Hello everyone, it's time for another live look at the astrology. My name is Katie Sweetman. This is your look at the astrology for January 13th through 19th, 2025. So just checking in. How are we doing? How is your 2025? I know there's a lot of things that are going on right now, and of course I'm always thinking of my friends in LA, in the LA area. I've already checked in with people that I know. Everybody seems to be fine, so that's great. But how are you doing? I know we are a worldwide audience, but a little bit of a check-in for 2025. It's only 2 weeks old. But that said, for those that don't know who I am, my name is Katie Sweetman, and I'm an astrologer and psychic medium located here in the Rolling Hills, at least for now, the Rolling Hills of Central Maryland. And every week we gather live to talk about the astrology, like what's going on. And you hear me say every week, you are the astrology is 50%, you are the other 50%. It's just a reminder that astrology is time, it's the energy of time, and it's how we live time. I'm just gonna fix this brightness, but yeah, there you go. So we got lots to talk about this week. We have the Cancer full moon. It just as of 30 minutes ago was exact. In fact, if you are, at least if it's nighttime where you are, you can look up and you can see the moon is next to Mars. I was walking my dog last night. I looked up between the clouds, and Mars is big and bright because Mars is presently retrograde. That's what happens when Mars is retrograde. It gets very bright in the sky, or when it's turning direct or retrograde. But yeah, we have a Cancer full moon. We need to recap the fact that the lunar nodes are now in Pisces and Virgo. I sort of posted about that. Everybody's like, what are lunar nodes? What does this mean for me? Like, where are my nodes? Like, let's sort of go on some bullet points about that. And we also have Venus making a conjunction to Saturn this week. And I think this really brings to a close this era that we've had. Era, maybe that's a big word. The last 18 months, we've had the lunar nodes in Aries and Libra. So Libra is ruled by Venus, and we had that connection, at least during that 18-month period, of Venus talking to that south node in Libra. But the nodes have moved on. So this week, when Venus meets up with Saturn on the 18th, it sort of brings that to a close, or at least some sort of resolution. Mind you, we are still in a block of time, a container of time that takes us into the solar eclipse to come in March, the end of March of 2025. And then that will be the last eclipse in the Aries Libra axis. We're switching to a new set of eclipses. So let's just, sort of go over the lunar nodes for a moment, very quickly, because the lunar nodes, it's important to understand that they are not physical bodies. They are 2 points in the sky, and these are 2 points in the sky that make eclipses happen. So over the past 18 months, the lunar nodes were in Aries and Libra, and as you guessed it, the eclipses were in Aries and Libra. Solar eclipse in Libra, October 2nd, 2024. Last eclipse again of this series, this would be, this will be March 29th of 2025. Astrology, you've heard me say this over and over again, and it's one of these things, for me, I do this not because I want to necessarily predict anything or tell you about your personality. Like, you don't need me to tell you about you. But astrology as an energy that helps us to become, to reveal who we are, to reveal our place in the world, to reveal maybe these bigger points that help a light bulb to go off, for us to hopefully have a little bit more peace and comfort about where we are in the world in spite of everything that's going on. And we are all on our individual journey. There's 8 billion people on this planet, and we're all searching on some level for answers. That's not to say astrology has all the answers, but it gives us this template, what I believe is sort of this beautiful, the zodiac is sort of this beautiful guide to being alive and hopefully trying to do our best and hopefully trying to grow and evolve. But the zodiac is still a container of time and space. we live that time and space over the course of, of an astrological year, from March to March of one year to March the next year. That's the astrological year, typically March 19th, March 20th, March 21st, depending on where we are. So if we're living time, like, how then do we live time? And you hear me say it every week, the astrology is 50%. You are the other 50%, meaning how do you live time? How does it move or reveal something inside of you? So here we are. I already mentioned that we're in a larger container of time that takes us from one solar eclipse, October 2nd, 2024, to the next solar eclipse, March 29th, 2025. And even, I think, the past couple of weeks, you heard me say, we are between the eclipses. We are in the midpoint of the eclipses. January is that hinge point that ties together these 2 points in time. So that's why January is an important month, for among other reasons. And then we have these smaller periods of time that go from new moon all the way to the next new moon. So we had a new moon in Capricorn, December 30th, 2024. We'll have another new moon in 2 weeks' time. I just can't think of the date offhand. But the full moon is that point where we really see illuminated, what is this lunar month about? So again, bigger arc of time, and then we have these little arcs of time within the lunar month. So with this full moon that we have today, it is putting a spotlight on a period of time that has been about Saturn, it's been about Capricorn, Capricorn new moon of December 30th. Saturn is over in Pisces, where the nodes are. I'll get back to that in just a moment. So this has been a time that has been about Saturn. Saturn is about our real world, the things that we can touch, the things that we own, the things that we build, and even who we are, meaning who do we become? What's the title after our name? But with Saturn and Pisces since March of 2023, it hasn't been so concrete, straightforward, because Pisces has a very different motivation than Capricorn, at least Capricorn out of the box Capricorn. Pisces wants more, it's more about fulfillment, it's about needing purpose and meaning, and filling these structures and filling our time with something that is meaningful, that does fulfill us. So let me go back to the lunar nodes. Again, they're not two physical bodies in the sky, but they're these 2 points that make eclipses happen. So the eclipses are going to shift. They already have started to shift because we had our first eclipse on September 17th of 2024. They're going to shift into Pisces and Virgo. When the eclipses are in Pisces and Virgo, and this is sort of a general statement, there is a theme that's about either service or like wanting to, because Pisces and Virgo are the helping and healing axis. You know, we want to help, we want to heal. How do I help people? How do I help people in this part of the world? How do I help people in that part of the world? How do I help people in my community? There is that desire with Virgo. It's very practical. So South Node right now is in Virgo, North Node in Pisces. It's sort of that big open-hearted generosity. It's spiritual, and Pisces by and large thinks about the bigger picture. So last time we had eclipses, at least the North Node in Pisces, would have been 2006 and 2007. We had the half cycle, so the nodes were reversed in 2015-16. We also had an eclipse at the very beginning of 2017 in Pisces. So this is a time where Pisces, Virgo certainly is very concrete. Pisces is not concrete. If astrology is about time and this container of time, the lunar nodes talk about this evolutionary arc. I said it earlier, we're all searching for answers. We're all on some sort of path. Like I said, not that necessarily astrology has all the answers, but at least it can help us to find a sense of direction and find a sense of meaning and purpose, and really to understand the time of our lives. So for example, when I look at a client's chart, I do client consultations, and I see the structure of the chart, but that's like looking at a body. I don't know how that body lives. I don't know what somebody's emotional qualities are. I don't know about their consciousness, because astrology does not measure consciousness and self-awareness. And so this chart I look to the nodes. The nodes tell me, what is this sort of deeper evolutionary arc that somebody is on? And you all have your nodes somewhere in your astrology. I shared this last week. My south node is in Pisces. My north node is in Virgo. So I'm having the nodal opposition over the next couple of months. My south node is at 23, 24 Pisces. 2006, 2007 were not great times, but just a very different version of myself, because that's the thing. I grow and I evolve. Grown and I have evolved even in the last few years. You all, sitting here watching this and doing this with me. So you too are growing and evolving, and we need the energy of the eclipses. We need the nodes so that we start to make something of this time and space. Because other than we're robots, then we're just living our astrology, just the time is going by, and nothing's really, we're not really capturing anything. We sort of wake up one day and it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years later. Oh wait, maybe that's already happening. But we need the nodes to help us to reveal. And I said this a few moments ago, when the North Node's in Pisces, to have eclipses in Pisces, to have Neptune and Saturn in Pisces, Venus is there this week, next week, what's being revealed isn't tangible. That's the earth signs. That's Capricorn, that's Virgo, that's Taurus. It's not quantifiable. You can't own it. It's not property. It's not even a goal or an ambition. It can't be a goal or an ambition, but it's something beyond this world. To understand Pisces is to understand the totality of the zodiac. We must understand the totality of the zodiac and to have a sense of a lens on the next year and a half, if not 2 years. With the North Node in Pisces and with Neptune will be there, it'll be in and out of Aries, and it finally leaves Pisces in April 2026. Saturn will be in and out of Pisces into February 2026. So we're not quite done with Saturn and Neptune and Pisces, but with those two planets there alongside the nodes, what we're learning, Saturn, building, becoming, growing up to become, is very Piscean. How do I make meaning and purpose with everything that's happening right now? How do I be at peace with everything that's happening right now? Can I be at peace with everything that's happening right now? And that gets to the existential heart of Pisces. Pisces has to reveal itself to you. Yeah, we can make funny memes and say things about personality of Pisces, but each and every one of you has Pisces somewhere in your astrology. You all have what's called a 12th house. And that is the space in our own astrology, the last space, where it needs to open itself up to us, because we'll never be able to rationally understand it. So with Pisces being very highlighted, how do we go beyond our physical world, Pisces, North Node in Pisces, without losing our connection to planet Earth, South Node in Virgo? How do we help? How do we heal? Whether it's ourselves, whether it's others. And I think when the South Node's in Virgo, there is a push to go beyond our physical world. And then there's Neptune. Mind you, Neptune has been in Pisces since February 2012. Yes, February 2012. So it's been quite a while at this point. And Neptune, it's a very different planet than Saturn. It's certainly not the nodes. Neptune is an evolutionary planet. It is by its nature otherworldly, and it's through that it's trying to get us to grow and to evolve in our own way. So all this energy is being focalized around the eclipses. We're going to have our first set of eclipses in March. We're going to have a Virgo full moon on March 14th. That solar eclipse that I already mentioned on the 29th of March, it's in Aries. But we get into September of 2025, and we've got September 7th, we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces. We've got a Virgo new moon on, I believe it's September 22nd, if I'm remembering correctly. So these are archetypes and energies that are going to be very well present throughout the year. If I know you're all thinking, wait a second, I am a Virgo, I am a Pisces. I do have Virgo Pisces very strong in my astrology. I have my nodes in Virgo Pisces. We're all different, of course. If you have a lot of planets in Virgo Pisces, then this area of your life will be very active. For example, if you have Pisces rising, Virgo rising, it will be a dynamic year for you. Things will probably happen. That's just what the eclipses do. They sort of mark these different chapters and these different events of our life. If you have your nodes in Virgo Pisces, you're having, let's say you're having a nodal return. You're born in the 1960s, you're born in the 1980s, maybe beyond that, but I can't do math. And if you're much older, God bless, but it means that it is a return to a thread that has always been present in your life. How do you open up to Pisces? Open up to something that is beyond this world. If you're born in the mid-1960s, then you also have Saturn there. You're having your second Saturn return. If you're born in the 80s, it's a little bit of a different type of astrology. But again, that's part of your personal arc and evolution in this lifetime. It is to go beyond the rational, the analytical, the quantifiable, something that, or even the judgments of the mind. I was sort of listening to this Ram Dass musical audio earlier, and it's really to open up to that. Somebody's like, should I be worried with my moon in Pisces? Of course not. Never be worried. It just means that maybe there's a change in your home environment. Maybe when people have things around their sun or their moon, or maybe it's a birth of a child, maybe it's something going on in your home environment, but we'll see. So if you have the reverse nodes, then it's really getting into something that pushes you on your evolutionary journey. It's hard to quantify that, because each and every one of you, you're your own spirit, your own being. And this is why it's so important to really, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an astrologer, it's well worth your time to work with an astrologer to give you a wider context. Because when we look at things cherry-picked, it's hard to see the bigger picture. That's just my professional advice. So yes, you can book a consultation with me. But that said, it's with you, if you have the reverse nodes, go back into 2006, 2007. It's not to say that it's going to be the same. Of course not. We're all different people than we were then. But is there a common thread? To have a south node in Pisces, it's a very mystical and spiritual placement for the south node, because the south node for anybody represents a well of memory and instinct. The lunar nodes are called the lunar nodes because they connect to the moon. The moon is the witness. The moon witnesses your life. The moon witnesses your lives, plural, depending what you believe in. And so there's a groove there wherever we have our south node. With the south node in Pisces, we need to take this Piscean energy and make it real and make it concrete. Again, it's going to be different for everybody. But that said, regardless of where your nodes are, this is something that we are collectively living through into the middle of 2026 and even into the beginning of 2027. So that's Pisces. That's Virgo. And I think on some level it is a leap. So how do we invest time, Saturn, in the things that actually fulfill us, that actually support our spiritual growth and development? Do we meditate more? Do we find compassion? I think that certainly, having witnessed some things over the past week, like how do we have compassion? I think it's just a necessity as human beings to have compassion for one another. I don't know, maybe that's my south node in Pisces talking. But that said, I could talk about this much longer, but it is a full moon. It's a full moon in Cancer. Cancer is a water sign. Water energy, Pisces is water energy as well. Water energy, it's the last element. There's 4 elements in astrology. It's fire, it's earth, it's air, it's water. When we get to water, we get to an element that takes air, which is relational, it's social, it's connective, it's systems, and it tries to make a deeper connection. It tries to make memory, it tries to make meaning, it tries to make purpose. There's those words again, meaning and purpose. It tries to create fulfillment. If Cancer is the ocean, Cancer is my emotions, then Pisces is the cosmic oceans. It's our shared emotional experience as human beings. It's two very different expressions of water. Water can also bring up grief, meaning every time we transition, water is the element of transition, not just emotions, it's transition. We transition to something new because the element that comes after water is fire. And so fire is the energy of new beginnings, renewal. And so the water is preparing us for transition and new beginnings. And that's what may bring up deeper emotions. I said earlier, this full moon is conjunct Mars. You can literally go, if there's no clouds, you can look up in the sky and you can see the moon and you can see Mars. So this touches on something that Mars is not at home in Cancer. It's classically speaking, it's in its detriment. It just means Mars can't be self-motivated when it's in Cancer. It typically is very protective of those it loves. The home, the family, it's sort of its kin, its tribe, so to speak. Mars in Cancer typically wants to fight for something that it really believes in, a sense of advocacy, especially that emotional quality around it. But of course, it can get a little hot-tempered, ill-tempered, because you add that Mars to that water energy. This full moon is also square Chiron. This is a little bit, I know Chiron's a newer addition to astrology, but I think it's very well present, certainly in the psychic material over the last 2 weeks. Chiron hits upon pain points, emotional and psychic pain points, not literal pain points, but it talks about the knots that we all have. These are knots of suffering. I know that that's a big word to say, but we're human beings. We have something that that makes us suffer. Meaning, there is probably something this week that you keep going back to, you keep sort of relitigating it, re-adding to it, picking at the old psychic scar, and that's Chiron. Chiron's symbol is a key. It's one of the reasons I love Chiron, because it says when we take the things that have made us suffer the most and use it like medicine to help and inspire other people, then Chiron can become a key. So within this full moon, within the nodes and because Mars is trying Neptune with this full moon, there is this Chiron energy. And it talks about not just the knots, but it talks about the threads that connect each and every one of us. And so there's something about our shared humanity with this full moon, and certainly this lunar month. There's something about needing to heal something, needing to let go of something. Of course, it's going to be unique to each and every one of us. But there's just a lot of emotional energy with this full moon. So certainly in the days around the full moon. And then with that Neptune conjunct the North Node, we are in a way being asked to go beyond. I can't quantify that for you. I know the South Node's in Virgo. I know Mercury is in Capricorn right now, but nothing can be quantified. So we need to sort of find the answers within, to find the answers within our heart, as sort of perhaps cheesy as that sounds, but it's true. And then we can open up that Piscean space. So quickly about the Venus conjunct Saturn on the 18th, so later this week. Venus is about relationships and connections and socialization. It's also what we invest in. It's invest our time, invest our money. And when it comes in contact with Saturn in a conjunction, for some, it is a commitment. It is an I do. It is a yes. It is a no. It is a left or a right, but there is no ambiguity with Saturn. Saturn is very black and white. So there is some sort of decision that we need to make this week. Maybe it's about what we value, what we want to invest our time in. Maybe it's about a relationship. Maybe it's about relationships as a, sort of a general whole. Who do I want in my life? What quality of people do I want in my life? Do I want people, Saturn's in Pisces, Venus is in Pisces, that want to, build something of medium purpose, for example. But these are things that we can return to next week, because also we're going to have Aquarius season. That's something else that we'll talk about next week. So let's look at each of the 12 signs. Of course, listen for your sun sign, listen for your rising sign, so you can have more of a richer picture. So starting with Aries. So Aries, Mars is your planet. So we are still coming off that really intense, I got to be honest, really intense opposition to Pluto. This is going to sort of weave its way in and out even into next April. We'll continue to talk about this, but it really sort of started the year with this need to change and to transform. Capricorn season for you represents something called your 10th sign, career, title after your name, your goals, your ambitions, your worldly life. To be fair, Aries, that you are in this period because Saturn is in your 12th, even though it will start to leave the 12th in 2025, it doesn't really leave the 12th until the beginning of 2026, where you are coming to the end of a great personal cycle. It's all connected. This need to transform, this need to become, this need to let something go. This is a time to really continue to emotionally and spiritually, and in some cases physically, divest yourself of the things that you do not want to bring with you into the next big chapter of your life. With this Cancer full moon, it puts the spotlight on home, family, roots, foundation, your living situation, your family members, the bigger sense of where is home and who is home. And so this full moon might be quite literal. You're moving, you're thinking about your household. If a family member needs your attention, Mars is right next to the full moon. Mars it represents you. So you may be in the spotlight in some way. Maybe more is being asked of you around the home environment. If it's not literally home, it's that internal sense of home and connection. Where do you belong? And I think it really continues to build upon these bigger questions about, where am I going in 2025? These sort of new cycles that are coming into play, needing to make some decisions, needing to make some transformations. And that may, for some of you, mean you need to move or change your household, or you need to reprioritize and to put more time into the things that actually really matter. Taurus. Venus is your planet, and Venus is in Pisces this week, and it's coming up to a conjunction to Saturn. So when Venus is in Pisces, it means that you're beginning to come to the end of your personal zodiac year, because Venus represents you. So it's been, I think, for the past couple of weeks, it's been about friends, or maybe the last week and a half, about friends and community, about looking towards the future. It's about what role do you play in this world? And Pisces does make you, have that desire to help, to heal. Maybe you've been more conscientious of social issues, social causes, helping in your community. That said, Venus meeting up with Saturn this week on the 18th brings you to a story that has been with you since March of 2023. Saturn in what's called your 11th. Saturn can be a little bit, if I'm just being honest, it can be a little bit brutal in the 11th because it gets very clear about who your friends are and who your friends aren't. So typically when Venus meets up with Saturn, we need to get very clear about something. We need to make a commitment. We need to set a boundary. We need to weed through something that's not working, because Saturn is very black and white. And Saturn has a very high bar in general, and that it has been applying that high bar to your friends and to your community over the last year and almost 2 years at this point. Maybe this is a chance to make a real connection, real community, to surround yourself with the people who are true allies, again, true friends, because Saturn wants something solid and something that's actually going to support you. If it is a relationship, Saturn, again, it can be a boundary, it could be a yes, it can be a no. It's for you to see how this is relevant in your life. Saturn typically makes us feel time, age, the responsibilities of life. So this might be a week where you also are feeling like a lot is being asked of you. This Cancer full moon does put the spotlight on, where is the full moon? On your 3rd. And so this kind of plays off of Capricorn season, where it is about travel for some of you. It is about long distance travel, local travel, movement, curiosity. I need to share something, speak something, teach something. Because the full moon on some level does talk about education. It does talk about the mind. It does talk about how you speak and how you communicate, and maybe needing to sort of say something and really stand behind your truth and standing behind your convictions and your faith, for example. This full moon does put the spotlight on Mars. Mars is not a diplomat, and so conversations might be a little bit pointed. Just try to navigate that the best you can. You may receive information, but this is about I think helping you to, because Mars rules your relationships, trying to navigate something with a relationship and to find a better point of view between you and another person. Gemini, Mercury is your planet. It's in Capricorn. So this is for the next week. Mercury is bringing you through something called your 8th sign. If I'm doing that correctly. Yes. So Mercury through the 8th adds a lot of a psychological overlay to your experiences right now. Maybe you are looking inward. Maybe you are having very deep conversations. Maybe you are talking about themes of intimacy, vulnerability, trust. For some Geminis, it is about money, property, and assets, because the space can get into money themes, finance, even benefits, for example. Through this time of inner search and reflection, there's a need to always to step up. And then when you get to Mercury in Aquarius, you sort of enter into this space, I think it's next week, where it's about your faith, your truth, your meaning, but you will be meeting up with Pluto. But that's a conversation for next week. It is Capricorn season, and we have this full moon in Cancer today. This full moon is conjunct Mars. It is highlighting two signs that for some of you, again, it is about money, income, property, assets, how you spend money, what you value, what you think it's worth, your own self-worth and your own value. So this full moon might mean a decision about how you're spending things. Maybe you're making a purchase, maybe with the 8th house energy. It could be a mortgage involved, something about finances. If it's not that, it gets into these bigger themes about, am I safe? Do I have everything that I need? Getting your needs met. And maybe this is sort of playing out with something with, relationships, or even friends and community. For example, this full moon in a way does activate you, and I think it's just needing to make, in Gemini fashion, needing to make some decisions. Cancer, so the moon is your planet. So there is a full moon in Cancer today, January 13th. So you are in the spotlight, Cancer rising. What does it mean to be in the spotlight? It might mean that a lot is happening in your life. Maybe it's busy. Maybe all eyes are on you for a reason. Maybe you're getting recognized for something. Maybe you're launching something. Maybe you have this desire to take the lead. For example, it's for you to see how this is relevant in your life. Typically, not always, but typically we'll have a Cancer full moon around this time of year, depending on the year. This full moon is conjunct Mars. Mars is not a diplomat. Mars is I need, I want, I go after, I hunt. It's not lay around and wait for things to happen. So this full moon might be activating that energy for you to take action. And maybe you're thinking, Katie, but Mars is retrograde. Mars retrograde doesn't mean that you can't take action, that you have to wait, because Mars is going to be retrograde until February 23rd in Cancer, by the way. What it says is that you need to be very conscientious about how you are taking action, what you are going after. Mars retrograde is a yin phase. Yin means you need to listen to your gut. You need to listen to your intuition. It's not to just sort of knee-jerk reaction something. It's just to sort of sit with yourself. But it is a little bit of some hot energy. It is also Capricorn season. Capricorn is your relationship sign. And this, of course, plays off that Capricorn moon of December 30th. So depending on what your situation is, it's either you're back and forth with somebody in your life. Maybe it is a need to make a change in a relationship. Maybe two people are trying to see eye to eye. Maybe you feel the need to really fight for what you need, what you want. Mars is in Cancer. With Saturn in Pisces in your 9th, it gets into these bigger philosophical differences, how you see things, how you see the world. Maybe you need to open up your mind. There is also a lot of this Neptune energy as well. There is still a need for compassion, and maybe that's what's going to really help you to figure out whatever this dynamic energy, this, I don't want to say it's conflict, but whatever you need to work out between you and another person. Leo. Leo, so the sun is your planet, and it's sort of wrapping, not sort of it is, it's wrapping up its time in Capricorn this week. So Capricorn forms something called your sixth sign. And the sixth sign seems, I think I even said this last week, very well suited for this time of year. We get organized, we focus on our health and wellness, we sort of map out new systems, new schedules, new ways of doing things. That will begin to change at the end of this week, and then into next week we'll talk about Aquarius season, which is relationships for you. But in the meantime, to continue to look at your physical life, your physical needs, your physical health and wellness. And then there's the Cancer full moon. Now the Cancer is something called your 12th sign. 12th represents, it's a couple of different ways we can look at it. It is your blind spots. It's literally beyond this world. And so this full moon is trying to show you something that may be in your blind spots, maybe something in a dream, in an intuition. It's a full moon to get quiet and really to nourish that quiet space, either within or around you. This full moon, for some, because the 12th is the counter to the health and wellness of the 6th, it's spiritual health, spiritual wellness, making sure you are also nourishing yourself on the soul, as opposed to, or in addition to the body and even the mind. The 12th also opens us up beyond this world. So it's a need to look beyond your physical life, to contemplate these big questions of the universe, these existential questions. Why am I here? What am I doing? How do I focus my earthly life so that it actually is a support for something greater? It's for you to see how this is relevant in your own life. So we have this full moon. It also puts the spotlight on Mars. Mars rules your home and family. So it could talk about a need to release, because the 12th is also a space of release, to release something from the past, to release something around home and family. Maybe it is to let go of something that you've been holding on to, a memory, something from childhood, for example. It's for you, again, to see how this is relevant in your life. I will also add, Leo, because Venus is a career planet for you, so its conjunction to Saturn is just something to pay attention to. This might be a week that is asking you to take on more duty and responsibility, or to make a commitment. I mean, maybe to make a commitment in your professional life, or to stand more in a position of authority. Virgo. So Mercury is your planet, and Mercury, it's still in Capricorn. And, getting a bit of fresh air after such a long time. I think it was 9 weeks of Mercury in Sagittarius. With Mercury in Capricorn, it plays upon the energies of the new moon in Capricorn 2 weeks ago. It's a time for you to focus on your talents, your gifts, your abilities, the things that light you up and give you joy and give you passion. It might sound like a luxury, but astrology teaches us that it's a necessity. So with this full moon, it is about to take your talents, gifts, abilities to share them with your friends, your community, the world at large. The 11th, which is where this full moon is, it's in a very public place. The 11th is a very public place in our personal astrology. And so how do people see you? How do you network? How do you socialize? Who are your friends? Who are your community? Because there's a need to sort of get yourself out there in some way. Mars is not a quiet planet. Mars might mean that there is something that you may be navigating in either your social circle or within a group, or maybe it's just about the world at large. Like, how do I take action? What's the future that I want to create for myself and for help to create for others? Virgo is a helping and healing sign. It might be a desire to take action on a collective level, to get involved with a social issue and social cause. We'll have to see how that is relevant for you. Just as a reminder, Virgo, the nodes are now in Virgo in Pisces. We'll be talking more about this as we go throughout the year, but it will be, I'm so sorry, it will be a dynamic year for you. You will have an eclipse in your sign on the 15th of March, 14th of March, 2025. So just in a few months from now. And this full moon will put you in the spotlight. It's a lunar eclipse. So look for sort of the clues, sort of the threads, the stories that are already playing out, because they will continue to play out and sort of come to a head potentially in March. Libra. So Venus is your planet and it's in Pisces. It's been in Pisces, I think like a week and a half or so. But that's the Pisces for you is a space. It's called your sixth. It's for you to focus on your health, your wellness, to make sure you're eating your vegetables, you're getting your vitamins, you're getting some sunshine. If it's January, it's no sunshine. That you are really taking care of your day-to-day life. And so Venus, which represents you, because it pulls your energy over to Pisces right now, it meets up with Saturn this week. Saturn is, as much as I love Saturn, Saturn is Saturn. Saturn is, you need to eat your vegetables. You need to do these things. You need to take care of your body, because we are in a physical world. We have physical bodies. We need to make sure we're taking care of them. Saturn can be that, cut and dry. It's not about health and wellness for every Libra rising. It could be about a need to make a commitment, a need to really take on a role, to be in a greater role of maturity. Saturn talks about time, karma, and aging, but it also talks about these roles that we step into, that we become, we grow up to become something. And so it's, every year Venus passes alongside Saturn. So this is, not something that's quite that rare. But it isn't a week to cut corners or to make excuses. Of course you wouldn't, Libra. But it is a week for you to really honor your commitments or the things that you said yes to, maybe to reevaluate the things that you said yes to, because Saturn does set a high bar. And so, and I think I said this in my introduction, I think this Venus-Saturn conjunction is a little bit of a coda to that Libra solar eclipse of October 2nd. So see how themes of October are really sort of coming into your experiences in January, and then what wants to take shape and take form, what's coming to the end, what's coming to a beginning, what's becoming real for you, because Saturn is all about making things real. Then we have a Cancer full moon. Cancer is your career sign. So when the sun is in Capricorn, it's Capricorn season, end of December, beginning of January. It's about your home environment, your inner life, your inner world. And then we always have a full moon. And this full moon is about your public life, your external world. So this full moon on a very nuts and bolts level might be about your career, your title, your position, your duties and responsibilities, how people see you, your reputation. It may be not as concrete. Maybe you feel a push to get out in the world, to release something, to launch something, to get recognized for something. You do have Mars in your career sign. It's not a quiet place for Mars to be, because it's very do, go, go, go. Even though it's retrograde, it just says, Libra, you need to be very conscientious about what you're using your power for. How are you connected to your desires? What is the role that you're playing in the world? And to do it from a place, maybe from compassion. Mars is trying Neptune, for example. But this, whatever's happening with this full moon, represents a story that isn't done yet, because Mars will turn direct on February 23rd. It will leave Cancer in April. So it's to see like how something is playing out, and sort of, again, these sort of bigger questions about power and authority and responsibility and your role with all of it. Scorpio, Mars is your planet, and you are coming off that really intense opposition to Pluto. I said this last week, I'll say it again, because Mars is retrograde. It doesn't mean that your life is on hold. No, it just says that you are in a yin phase. You need to be more conscientious. You need to use your intuition. You need to not be knee-jerk about things and sort of be, sort of rush to use that Mars. It is to be more present with that Mars. With Mars In Cancer, it's in a space in your astrology that talks about what do you believe in? What do you stand for? What's your truth? What's your convictions? And what's your faith? For some, this time is really getting into these sort of bigger philosophical questions. And maybe it is about the themes about right and wrong, and like what is right in your life and what is wrong in your life, and how do you orient your own personal compass. For some, it is about education and travel and even foreign travel, but also there is this, I think, with the Mars and especially opposite Pluto, this sort of larger theme in your life about, your use of power in the world and how you use your Mars, because Mars by extension is you. And Mars is pulling your energy over to Cancer. So with this full moon, I'll go back to Pluto in a moment, with this full moon in Cancer today, the 13th, it's in a way putting you in the spotlight. See how this is relevant in your own life. Maybe you are being pushed to teach something, to share something, to stand behind something, to really, because then the role of the ninth, where this full moon is to illuminate, and it's to make your world bigger. Making your world bigger, you make it bigger either by getting on a plane or going and getting in a higher degree or reading every book that you can, or really having a larger perspective of the world. And because of that, you can share, you can teach. So this full moon might be asking you again to share and to teach. Back to Pluto. Mars is back and forth in an opposition to Pluto even into April. So that's a long time. So you're sort of in this, I think this full moon is part of this opposition. It's just part of the story. In this time where there's a lot of personal transformation that's happening, Pluto has gone into Aquarius, which is your third sign. It is a need to transform your relationship with your voice, how you speak, how you listen, how you learn. And then by extension, maybe with Mars going back into, Pluto's now in your fourth. It's the space of home and family and roots and foundation. So there's already this sort of bigger seismic shift that's happening in your life. And maybe, Mars with this full moon gets into sort of these bigger philosophical shifts that are playing out, because when Mars returns to Leo in April and makes that final opposition to Pluto, that's where I think that some sort of bigger transformation will then be revealed. Sagittarius. So Jupiter is your planet. It's been over in Gemini since May of 2024. So your energy continues to be pulled over to Gemini, which is your sign of your sign of relationships and connection and how you socialize and interact. By and large, it is a busy time to be a Sag or a Sag rising. Jupiter, your planet, continues to be in this long square to Saturn. You already had 2 Jupiter-Saturn squares. The final one will be in June. We got some time before June. And Saturn talks about this force that is trying to make you grow up and to become more of whatever you need to become. Maybe it brings this question up, like, who do you need to become in 2025? To become something isn't to sort of arbitrarily decide something, or to sort of step in a role that's not yours. It is a role that you have been preparing for. See how this is relevant in your own life. For some Sag risings, that role is professional, or it could be familial. You're preparing to become a parent. Maybe it is to be a leader. Maybe it's become an authority in some other way. It continues to be about relationships. We also have all this energy down in Pisces. The nodes are down in Pisces now. It's going to be a dynamic year for you, Sag, that is about your home environment, your living situation, family, but also your career, because we're going to have eclipses in Virgo in March, but I'm getting ahead of myself. This Cancer full moon is getting into something called your 8th. It is shining a light in a space that is typically hidden and obscured. The 8th represents a space where we have to face ourselves. I know that may sound daunting, but every time you talk to a trusted confidant, every time you go to therapy, every time you do that inner work, you're symbolically in the 8th. So this full moon is trying to reveal something to you. It could be something that is hidden. You keep it private. You keep it really safe within. Maybe it's a conversation that needs to happen. Maybe a sense of intimacy and vulnerability. Maybe something needs to be revealed because you haven't wanted to look at it, or it's been, again, kind of obscured. This full moon may touch on financial themes, a need to create material stability and security, also to secure finance support, financial support, assets, benefits, legacy, and even for some inheritance. With the sun still in Capricorn, this talks about your money, how your income, how you earn a living, but I think ultimately gets into these bigger existential questions like, what do I need? Like, what's important? Where do I need to invest my time and my energy? Keep in mind that Venus is making a conjunction to Saturn this week. So it is a week about value and worth and getting very clear about what's of value and what's not of value for you. Capricorn, so Saturn is your planet. I know it's been a couple years now, it's still in Pisces. But it just means that page by page, chapter by chapter, this story continues to unfold. It is Capricorn season. Happy birthday, Capricorn. Your energy continues to be pointed towards a sign that is less about the material world and more either about the spiritual world or about your emotional needs, your emotional wants, and making sure that your life is being fulfilled by something. With this full moon, it does put the spotlight on relationships, whether it is a relationship in your life, whether it is how you show up in relationships, how you connect and interact and socialize with other people. Mars is in your relationship sign. And here's the thing, when Mars is typically in the relationship sign, it is a time when we are on the offense, or the defensive. It's not always, but typically the energy is coming from other people. And we're in this dance, whatever dance we need to be, between us and somebody else. Not always, and for some Capricorns, with Mars still in your relationship sign, the energy of the chart and your energy is going towards relationships. Whether it is to build connection and partnership, whether it is to set boundaries, whether it is to sort of make sure that your relationship and partnership is in alignment with some sort of philosophical need or spiritual need, for example. But this full moon is likely a very dynamic full moon for you. Maybe things are happening in your life, maybe not, we'll see. But it plays upon the new beginnings of that Capricorn new moon of December 30th, 2024. Aquarius. So Saturn is your planet. It's still in Pisces. I know it's been 2 years, but this time has been a time for you to do a much longer work around money, income, material stability, security, self-worth, and a value. I know you've heard me say this a lot of times at this point, but it continues to be the big bullet points. With the sun in Capricorn, it means that you are coming to the end of your personal zodiac year, because when the sun goes into Aquarius on the 19th, so Sunday, it is your birthday season. We'll talk about this next week. Happy early birthday. The idea is that we release, because then the sun goes into Aquarius, and that is the restart, whether you're Aquarius rising or Aquarius sun, the restart for your personal year. With the sun going into Aquarius, again, we'll talk more about this next week, it will then activate that Saturn in Pisces more. Then it will be more about what are you investing your time in? Like, what's of value for you, for example. That said, this full moon, to go back to the sun in Capricorn, this full moon in Cancer, which is exactly opposite from Capricorn, for some Aquariuses is about health and wellness. You need to look not just at health on a holistic level, like mind, body, soul level. You need to get into the nuts and bolts, your day-to-day, stuff. Don't do this more. Eat your vegetables, get your vitamins, get some sunshine, whatever you need to do. This full moon might talk about this need to really bring into your day-to-day life, your day-to-day practices, these deeper themes and these deeper values. Like, what does your day look like? Do you wake up? Do you mindlessly scroll through your phone all day? I know we're all human beings. Do you really create an intention and time for your day-to-day life? Because health isn't just what you physically ingest. Health is also what you ingest all around. And so to sort of organize your day-to-day life, that might need to happen with this full moon. Mars is in this space. Mars is not a quiet influence. It can bring things to a head. It can really show you something. There's a need or demand to take action. A full moon certainly can be a demand and a need to take action. But whatever is going on, it is for you to make whatever necessary changes that you need to make. I think whatever reorganizations you need to make, it's in advance of sort of these larger changes that are happening. We've been talking about this since last year. Pluto is now in your relationship sign, something that we'll talk about next week more. But this is part of this bigger psychic and structural and even tectonic shift in your life. And with that in mind, maybe your day-to-day life and your priorities and where you're investing your time and money need to go in different places. Finally, Pisces. So Pisces, Saturn is your planet. And, not Saturn's your planet. I'm sorry. I was like Saturn on the brain. Jupiter is your planet. I know you're like, wait a second, Katie, not Saturn, Jupiter. Jupiter is your planet, and Jupiter is in Gemini still. It'll be in Gemini until the 9th of June. So that's about 13 months, give or take, about 12 or so months, where you are focusing on home, family, roots, foundation. I realize there isn't a full moon right now in Gemini. That was back in December. But because this full moon is in Cancer, and Cancer by its nature is home, is family, is the things that really we value because they actually support us and they fulfill us. And I think there is some commonality between the fact that Jupiter is in your sign of home and family, and we have this Cancer full moon because it continues to ask this greater question in your life. Where is home and who is home? For some Pisces rising, that question is very literal. Where is home and who is home? I need to move. I need to create a household. I'm moving in with my partner. I'm starting a family, whatever phase of life that you're in. And for some Pisces, that's internal. The movement isn't physical. It's emotional. I need to put down roots within. I need to feel like I'm supported, that I'm getting my needs met, for example. Jupiter continues to be in a square to Saturn. It'll be in a square to Saturn until June. There's that month again. When we have that long square to Saturn, it's like you're making something, but it's like making bones. I know it's kind of a funny thing to say, but Saturn is teeth and bones in astrology, which means it's like the pressure, the alchemy of time in order for something to become real, for it to support you. So there's this process of growth and maturity that is very well present, I would say second half of 2024 and even into the second half of 2025. The nodes are now in Virgo Pisces, which we talked about last week, but with the nodes in Virgo Pisces, it means that the eclipses are going to be in Virgo Pisces. 2025 will be a dynamic year for you. Definitely when we get into that second half of the year, but in the meantime, it sort of places itself upon the four angles of your life, and it continues to be a time where you need to figure things out. You need to figure out where home is. You need to figure out relationships. You need to figure out responsibilities. Saturn's still in Pisces. It's not Pisces season, but with this Capricorn new moon that we had 2 weeks ago, and even this Cancer full moon that we had today, in a way, it threads back to you. These new beginnings, these sort of longer new beginnings that you've been stepping into the past couple of years, and how life has been asking you to step into a role. But you could look at it like this, that this, whatever this role that life is asking you, it's like to become. It's not to become something that you're not. It's to become the role that was always there for us to grow into. This full moon in Cancer gets into creativity, self-expression, identity, passion, joy, the things that light us up and give us pleasure, and a need to know exactly who you are. For some Pisces, it is a very creative new moon, full moon. For some Pisces, it's a need to reprioritize your time for the things that light you up and give you joy and give you passion. Mars in this space has a lot of creative energy, so give it an outlet the best that you can as you go into the rest of the week. So that is your look at the astrology of this week, January 13th through 19th, 2025. I know we had a lot to cover, so you can follow me online at empoweringastrology.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify. Links are in the show notes. I'm doing a I'm doing a 2-day intensive on energetic sciences on February 8th and 9th of 2025. This is for you to learn about energy and consciousness, how to open your consciousness, and how to begin to feel the invisible threads of the fabric of reality. But I'll talk more about that next week. And also the link is in the show notes, and I appreciate you all, and I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.